Laws have been around ever since humans were able to interact with each other. They set boundaries and keep a society collected and protected. Without them, chaos would occur as anyone would be able to do whatever they wished with no punishments. Long ago, these laws used to be passed around verbally, from person to person. The populations then began to grow, and these laws became more complex, so it was necessary to create written laws. The Code of Hammurabi is one of the earliest known sets of written laws.
How was it found? It was 1901. French archaeologists working in Susa, Iran made an amazing discovery, a city located in present-day in Iraq. Hammurabi's code was covered onto a massive finger-shaped black steel pillar that was located by invaders and finally rediscovered in 1901. Her name is Jacques de Morgan. She's also a French mining engineer. They uncovered the stele of the Hammurabi's code broken into 3 pieces.
Hammurabi was the sixth king of a city called Babylon in Iraq. He ruled from 1792 to 1750 BC, and he came up with 282 laws, which were the first known written laws. He expanded his city along the Euphrates River, which united all of southern Mesopotamia. He conquered many cities while he ruled Babylon, as well as building many fortifications and temples. In his lifetime, he was deemed to be a successful king, as well as many looking up to him as a god. He died at 60 years old in 1750 BC, but he was remembered as a great conqueror.
What the laws were about. They were codified laws and penalties for all aspects of life. They attributed to the gods that were well respected and feared, which encouraged people to follow them. They were very male dominated and based on retribution, not restitution. There was a clear hierarchy of power, which wealthy people on top and poor people at the bottom with no protection. Lastly, punishments were based on social status. Examples of his laws. Poor people were not well represented by his 282 laws, neither were women. People with good social status and the wealthy were the ones who benefited from his laws. 2 examples of his laws are, if anyone is committing a robbery and is caught, then he shall be put to death. And the second one is, if anyone steals a cattle or a sheep, a pig or a goat, the thief shall pay tenfold. If the thief has nothing with which to pay, he shall be put to death.
This first set of written laws is very different from Canada's present-day laws. It really shows how much we've grown and learned with time. For example, back then, there was no recognition of the difference between an accident and a deliberate action. If you did it, you would simply be charged without hesitation. Now, we have multiple things taken into account. One being intent versus accidents. Maybe you were using self-defense on the robber in your home. Or maybe you had a heart attack when driving and you didn't mean to kill someone. These are all accidents or something out of your control. Another thing we take into account today is mental disorders. Sometimes those could give an explanation as to why it happened. None of these variables were considered back then. Another difference is the death penalty. Back then, it was taken way more lightly and appeared to be a common punishment. Today, it is very, very rare to be sentenced with death, and only the worst people with the worst crimes have to face it. The death penalty is frowned upon by many, and it is even illegal in many parts of the world. It is safe to say that we have grown and improved our laws in many ways.
How it impacts today's legal system. Like laws of today, Hammurabi's code is much more brutal than law codes. The codes lay specific punishments for specific crimes. Like today's legal systems, Hammurabi's code lays out the ways that trials are conducted. It spells out the requirements for witnesses and impartial judges.
Hammurabi's 282 laws were the first written laws which started the journey to the laws that we have today, and knowing how laws began is very important as well as who started the written laws.
Hammurabi's code is definitely important for people to know about today because it alters world law forever. His setting up and creating the code, the social structure and significant laws, and its discovery were all essential to the code. The code is essential for people to know about today because it introduced new ideas and is part of an American history.